Hello guys, it's me again on my second video in a row. I think it's the first time that I do two videos in a row, but since no one was uploading, I decided to keep this channel going for now. So yeah, this is my video and I want to tell you 5 things about music that I think are really important that people often ignore. So without further ado, welcome to Victorville. Now music it's a very, very interesting thing that we hear every day and we talk about every day because it's something that's part of our culture, our everyday culture. It's really easy to listen to anywhere. So it's not like literature that you actually have to read a book and that takes time. You can passively listen to music, and that's not something that you can see with every kind of art. So that makes music really, really special. It doesn't even require your attention for you to enjoy it. With that, people don't usually think a lot about music even though they're using a lot. So there are 5 things that I think people usually forget when they're listening to music just because, well, they just take things for granted. Number 1, complexity doesn't mean that something is better. I mean, most people nowadays will listen to all kinds of music in the radio and stuff like that, and I think that they have a lot of preferences for certain kinds of music. But in general, you ask them, they might tell you that it's not the best kind of music. People will often point out that classical music is better, or old music for some reason should be better because it's more complex, and that has been lost, and you are making things more simple and more simple, and just using 4 chords and stuff like that. And that's, even though you like them more, it's not as good as it used to be, and I think that that's completely wrong. Complexity doesn't mean that something is better. I've heard a lot of great songs that are great without having to be extremely complex. If you take AC/DC, their songs are usually 2 or 3 chords, maybe 4, and I have never heard anyone call them a bad band. I know a lot of people who don't like them, but they won't say they're bad because they have this idea that something is good for some reason because people tell them that they're good. And you can think about many, even classical music, that is composed just of a few notes that are used wisely. And I think that's what's important. It doesn't matter how complex something is. It matters what you do with the things you have to build the song or the music. That being said, of course, there's a lot of amazing, complex music that definitely is worth listening to, and it's incredible. It probably took more effort to create because it's so complex, but that doesn't make it better. So yes, there's a lot of value in the complexity because it reflects all the work and all the knowledge that an artist put into this music. But that doesn't make it better. You can have a 2-chord song that is 10 times better than an extremely complex song that doesn't really sound good. Number 2, lyrics aren't everything. One of the things that I've heard a lot is that people say they don't like a song just because the lyrics aren't very good. Maybe they say bad words, maybe you don't like the message, maybe you don't like the whatever you don't like. But the truth is, if you really want to enjoy music, you have to look further than that. Yes, there are some very good songs with terrible lyrics, and that's not the only component of the song. There's usually a bass, the drums, and the main melody, and some accompaniment, and all of those just interact with each other to create something musical. And you might not like some of them, but that doesn't mean that all of the other ones are bad. Take for example, picture a song, this beautiful song with the most beautiful chord progression and a beautiful melody played on your favorite instrument, but you don't like what the singer is saying, even though he or she has an amazing voice. You would probably still like the song if you didn't know the lyrics. And I think if you don't pay attention to the lyrics, you could really, really enjoy that song because the music itself is amazing. You just don't like the lyrics. And of course, lyrics are an essential part of many genres. They sometimes give a very, very deep meaning to all kinds of music. But in the end, they're just a part, and they are as important as any other part of the song, and you shouldn't disqualify it because you don't like that one thing, unless it really offends you in some way that you can't deal with. And in that case, I mean, you don't have to like something if you don't like what it means, but you should consider appreciating the rest of it. Number three, computer music is not bad. Now, this is something that I've been guilty of for a long time, but I used to hate on all kinds of music that were produced by a computer because it didn't involve a musician directly playing the music. However, but by getting to know more about how music is produced, how it's created, and all that it takes to create a song, I can tell you that instruments are not really necessary to make good music. There are a lot of electronic music out there that is done really, really great, and it's amazing, and it takes a lot of thought to create something good. Just to create the instruments digitally is complicated. To create, you have to do the whole composing thing. It's like you have all the things, and computer just is just a tool for you to create exactly what you want, because you can model things in ways that you wouldn't be able to with a real instrument. And I'm not saying that instruments are bad. I mean, I'm a guitarist and I play other instruments, and I would never trade that. I think that playing an instrument opens up a lot of possibilities and lets you experience music in a different way, to understand how music works at a deeper level. Just create music on the go and do whatever you want directly without having to have a computer. But that doesn't mean that a guitar is necessary for making music, because music itself is valuable whether or not you can physically play it with instruments, because of what I've said. You have to create the melody, you have to create the rhythm, you have to create a lot of things that are very valuable on themselves. Number four, there are a lot of purposes for music. Now, this is another important thing that people don't usually talk about. Maybe they don't feel strongly about it, but yeah, there is music for different purposes. It doesn't have to be just express yourself. I think that most of the music that you hear on the radio, it wasn't meant to express anything. It was meant to sell things, and that doesn't mean that the singer doesn't want to express something through that song. It just means that that wasn't the main purpose why it was created, why it contains certain elements, why you even hear it. I mean, if they put a song in the radio, it's because it was produced specifically for the radio. They don't just put any singer that has a song. They have to put songs from a record label, and the record label has to have gotten a singer that they know can sell, because in the end the radio is a way to give you music so that you buy their music. So that's one's made for sale. And you have other examples of other kinds of purpose. For example, there are songs that are meant to tell a story, and that's how music started, like people telling stories through music, maybe explaining how they hunted, how they gave traditions. So it's a way to transmit messages, not only emotions. So yeah, there are different songs with different purposes. They don't have to be to express something nice. They can be very ugly. They can be something you don't like. That doesn't make them bad, because they're not meant to be what you like. They're meant to be what the author meant them to be. And maybe they wanted to create something completely dissonant that you wouldn't expect to hear anywhere. Maybe they wanted to create something entirely beautiful. Maybe they just wanted to create the most beautiful thing using only 2 chords and 3 notes outside those chords. Maybe they just wanted to create the most complex thing ever without caring about anything else. So yeah, the purpose of the music is really important when trying to understand how that music came to be. And number 5, there is no objectively good or bad music. And I think that this is a very important thing to consider. You don't have to be angry at anyone because they don't like the music you do. You don't have to scream at them and explain why your music taste is better than anyone else's, because that's not true. Because anyone is entitled to their opinion. There's not really anything that makes a song better than the other one. If you like it, if you can relate to it, if you can appreciate what the author is trying to do with it, not necessarily because you like what you're hearing, but because you like the message behind it, if that makes sense, then it's a good song. You don't have to like any kind of music just because other people tell you to like it. They might have a lot of arguments for it, and you should definitely listen to them, because you might be able to experience new things or experience the same things in a new way that you wouldn't have thought of just by what you think. you don't ever have to apologize for not liking something or for liking something, because in the end, music is art. Some music wasn't created to be art, but if you can appreciate it in some way, then there's no reason why you shouldn't. So yeah, don't spread hate, spread love for music, and yes, try to educate yourself in music. You can definitely appreciate more things the more you know. Uh, but if you don't want to, if you just want to keep listening to whatever you like, whatever is on the radio, that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong about it, because regardless of what other people may say, music was not meant to be a certain way. You can do whatever you want with it. And I think that's all for this video. I'm not gonna give you any other challenges, just accomplish the one from the past video, and I'll see you when I see you.